Hi, I'm Non from My Authentic Style, and this channel is dedicated to helping you find your authentic style. In this video, I'll be discussing the classic essence, what it is, how it can be expressed, and how to tell if you have it. First, however, I think it's important to fully understand just what a style essence is. Please note, in my body type analyses, I use the Kibbe system of body typing. For these essence analyses, I'll be using both the Kibbe and the Kitchener systems. I'm adding the Kitchener system as I think it's both more comprehensive and intuitive, and I've had no issues with using the two together. In fact, I find that they complement each other. Okay, so a style essence is different from a body type. The body type is based on a person's body geometry, and identifying it helps a person to know their best clothing lines and styles so that they always look their best. An essence is less tangible. It's based on a person's embodiment and personal expression, and identifying it helps a person know their inner stylistic character so that they always look like themselves or harmonious. Essence, by virtue of how intangible it is difficult to describe. Like class and grace, it's difficult to pinpoint, but you know it when you see it, and it's glaringly obvious when it's missing. A person dressed in a way that captures their essence looks wonderfully complete, and they animate their look, meaning they bring it to life. On the other hand, even in lines that perfectly match their body type, a person who doesn't dress for their essence will look dull and incomplete. Let's look at an example to illustrate this. Reese Witherspoon is a verified soft gamine, and she has some gamine essence, but I believe that she has a more dominant classic essence. So her best and signature style is preppy, which is bite size classic. So she looks her best when she honors that classic essence. In these looks, the lines and the essence of the outfits are very gamine. The high necklines, the bright and contrasting colors, and the fun and youthful graphics or patterns all create that bold, fun gamine essence. However, I find these elements to be distracting from Reese. They are inharmonious and separate from her. These looks are too cute and playful for her. In these outfits, Reese looks amazing and complete. She looks harmonious because she's honoring both her gamine lines with the cropped pants, the high necklines, the high color contrast, and the color pops. But more importantly, she's also honoring her classic essence. The looks are preppy and clean, and the styling is polished, and she looks great. So, what things communicate essence? Essence is elusive, so it's difficult to pinpoint exactly what individual element created. In truth, it's probably a combination of all of them: the style of clothing, the color palette, the hair and makeup, and the choice of accessories. However, some of these are more fixed than others. For example, the style of clothing is dictated by a person's body type, and the color palette is likely dictated by their color season. So the elements that are left to play with to create or highlight the desired essence are hair, makeup, and the choice of accessories. I call these packaging or tangibles. These tangible elements are the things that anyone can manipulate to recreate a representation of a particular essence. On the right person, it'll come to life and look beautifully natural. On the wrong person, even if it looks beautiful, it will look like a costume. Hair. Hair is communicative. Whether it's tied or loose, sleek or voluminous, polished or unkempt, all of these variations create a different vibe for the person wearing them. Some styles will be more them than others, meaning that some styles will capture their essence better than others. Makeup. Similarly to hair, makeup is a very communicative element of any ensemble. Whether bold or subtle, sharp or blurred, bright or subdued, can create a harmonious look that highlights someone's beauty and essence or one that clashes with it. Accessories. Accessories are fun and dynamic, and they allow for the ultimate expression of a person's essence because of all the options that are available. Not only do they complete a look by stylistically tying it all together, but the shapes, colors, textures, edges, and details of each piece can be used to communicate the essence of the wearer. The second category I call embodiment or intangibles. These intangible elements are the crux of an essence. These pieces come together to animate the packaging, which we just discussed, of a person's embodiment, which is really what we're judging when we talk about their essence. Movement. One way that a person's embodiment of their essence can manifest is in how they generally move, how they pick up and put things down, how they hold them, how they walk, etc. Certain people can be described as gentle, graceful, and poised. This is a particular embodiment. Other people can be described as fun, energetic, and even strong. This is a completely different embodiment. Speech. How a person talks can reveal a lot about them, and particular ways of speaking lend themselves to certain essences. For example, a person can be bold and direct in how they communicate. This is a powerful and perhaps even dominant essence. Or, a person can be light-hearted and almost frivolous in how they communicate. This is a soft and perhaps even flirty essence. And finally, demeanor. A demeanor is all encompassing, but it can also be clearly worn on a person's face, and it's how that person is perceived by most people. This is how a person generally outwardly presents. Some people are intimidating and intense, like this picture of Meryl Streep um, in The Devil Wears Prada. In the character she played, I believe she was embodying the essence of Anna Wintour, which is a very strong, dominant character that people generally fear. Others can be warm and welcoming. Some are mischievous, some are pure and innocent, some are alluring. This picture in the middle is more sexy and alluring, and this picture to the right captures more of a youthful and innocent essence. I'm purposely putting this here so that we can all remember that an essence can't be boiled down to a formula. The truly animating part, that thing that brings a person's essence to life, is not something that I can pinpoint and describe. It's the ever elusive muse. It just is. Some people are just a certain way and other people aren't. You either have a particular essence or you don't. If you do, then embodying that essence and allowing it to shine through will make you your most beautiful because it'll make you your most natural, truest self. If you don't have a particular essence, pretending to have it and trying to embody it will make you your least beautiful because it'll be a cheap imitation of someone else. So, to tie it all up, even with everything I've described, there is that particular indescribable magic that we each possess, and you just either have it or you don't have it with regards to a particular essence. There are no good essences or bad essences. There's just what's yours and what isn't. Beauty is simply being true to yourself. So, what exactly is the classic essence? The classic essence can be described as refined femininity. It leads with timeless maturity. It's elegant, it's polished, and it's traditional. In the Kibbe world, this is the type made up of evenly blended yin and yang. Nothing stands out. There's no excessive sharpness or softness, just smooth finishes, edges, and symmetry. It follows that the essence associated with this type builds on that idea of polished and balanced symmetry. The polished part speaks to the packaging of this essence that requires high quality fabrics, elegant styling, and refined details. The balanced symmetry part is the blended aspect, where everything is even and nothing stands out. Nothing too sharp, nothing too soft. Using the criteria above, The classic essence can be distilled as follows. Hair. Classic hair is simple, refined, and polished. It has a kept or brushed look that shows care was taken to style it, but in a very low-key and understated way. The styles are timeless and elegant, and the colors are natural. Makeup. Classic makeup is simple and elegant. It's blended so that nothing stands out, but the face as a whole is tastefully elevated. Lip colors are either natural or classic, like a classic red lip, for example. The important thing with this essence is to keep the look refined by keeping the lines clean and the colors simple. Nothing too excessive, sharp, or dramatic, as these styles will overpower the classic essence woman. Accessories. Classic accessories are classy and elegant. They are traditional in style, design, and coloring. They're structured so they're not too floppy, and generally they keep their shape. They're moderate in size, and the edges are gently rounded, so nothing too sharp. The details are polished and timeless. Movement. Classic movement is poised and graceful. The movements are small and calm, nothing too excitable or exaggerated. Perhaps the most important aspect of the classic movement is ensuring that it is never vulgar. It must at all times be polished and refined. On the negative side, this may come off as calculated and robotic. It might give the impression of a lack of spontaneity or being stiff. Speech. Classic speech is formal and refined. It is proper in its delivery and always gracious. Women with this essence often inspire others to clean up their language, not because they give the impression that they can't handle anything vulgar, as in women who have the ingenue essence, but rather vulgar language feels beneath them. Likewise, they also inspire a move away from any silly or frivolous conversation because of the maturity of their essence. On the negative side, this may come off as serious and uptight. Demeanor. The classic demeanor is classy and reserved. It's cool, calm, and collected. It gives nothing away. So these women are typically not easy to read beneath their poised exteriors. These women also have a quiet confidence that makes them feel very self assured. On the negative side, this self assurance might come off as self importance, which can create an impression of them being snobbish. In general, if their poised exterior never reveals any emotion, this may come off as cold and unfeeling. So, what sort of woman does this create? A sophisticated woman who leads with elegance. She is effortlessly classy and stands as an example of poise and grace. This is the realm of the First Lady and royalty. These women typically come from a long line and tradition of refinement and class, which may be associated with old money. Whether they have real power or symbolic status, these women are aspirational role models. In a more common setting, this is the embodiment of a good teacher, a calm, gracious person who acts as an example of what to be and how to carry oneself. While graceful, they take no nonsense and know how to command a room and get things done. It may be frustrating for classic essence women to feel like they are trapped in a Stepford Wives impersonation where they have to be perfect and graceful at all times. The description of this essence may make it seem as though that's their only acceptable expression, but that's not the case. In general, it's so refreshing when women with this embodiment break out of character from time to time to let the unpolished aspects of their personalities shine through. Just as long as they remember to stay true to themselves and not try too hard to do anything that isn't authentic in an effort to connect, as that will have the opposite effect. Whatever the essence, the most important and sexiest quality in any person is authenticity. So never be afraid to be fully yourself. Now let's talk about some classic essence icons. Two examples of women who embody the classic essence are former US First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy and British actress Emily Blunt. Let's start with Jackie Kennedy. Perhaps the closest thing to royalty in American history is the Kennedys, so it's fitting that Jackie Kennedy is such a great embodiment of the classic essence. In these gifts, I see her poise and reserve captured beautifully. In the first one to the left, you can see that sort of embodiment of classic speech. While I can't see what she's saying, I can tell that the pace of it is slowed down and controlled, and I'm sure the volume is relatively low and graceful. Notice how she smiles, and everything is so poised. Everything is very subtle and reserved and somewhat restricted. That sort of elegance is very pivotal for this classic essence. In the middle section, we see her have a lot more movement. But even with that, there's a sense of regality and poise and grace. I'm sure this came with a lot of training for the role that she was in, but in general, that sort of subtlety is imperative for this essence, and that any embodiment that's too exaggerated or too fun would be very inharmonious with them. In the last two images, it's more about creating a sense of the refinement and traditional luxury associated with this essence. Here, Mrs. Kennedy could be coming off a private plane or a car in the top one, or she could be standing on a yacht. Either way, she looks so at home in these settings. She belongs in wealthy surroundings, and looking at her do it, it's really nothing to write home about. It's just so normalized for this kind of essence. And now, Emily Blunt. In the videos I've seen of Emily, she appears to have a great personality and to be really funny. Still, she has this very naturally classic essence that comes off in her calm nature, mature and graceful expression, and general elegance. In these gifts and images, you can really see that grace, elegance, and subtlety come into play. This is also furthered by her choice in makeup. In the first one to the left, for example, it's clean makeup and a slight earring, but nothing stands out too much. Everything is very, very simple. And the subtlety in the motion as she speaks and the gentleness in what I imagine she's saying, all of it exudes that sense of calm. She generally seems very chill. And this is a key aspect of the classic essence in that there's not too much to say about it. It's almost what makes it what it is the absence of all the other things. So an absence of anything or an embodiment that's too boisterous or excitable. And that creates the elegance. The bottom image of her holding a cup of tea is a little bit of a joke because of what we imagine when we think of proper English lady. But as much as it is a joke, she looks very much at home in that stiff um, sort of embodiment, very proper. And then the last two gifts to the right, one is a still image above where she's acting as a stewardess, and the bottom one where she is Mary Poppins. Both of those embody that in charge aspect of the classic essence. This essence naturally leads as it is closely tied to the role model archetype. Here I get that stern school teacher vibe from her, the kind of person who won't take any bad behavior. Again, it feels natural, and I believe her in this kind of role and embodiment. So, what does a classic essence look like? Well, let's take a look at some celebrity examples. While each of these women has a different Kibbe body type, what they have in common is a classic essence. Remember that Essence doesn't have a body type. So even though Kirsten Dunst is a soft classic, Amal Clooney is a dramatic, and Gugumbata Raw is a dramatic classic, they all have a classic essence. They have in common that they look their best when their hair is elegantly styled, when their makeup is clean and subtle, and when their accessories are high quality and understated. In short, they look their best when they look refined and elegant because this honors their classic essence. True essence is more important than body type essence. It's important to identify your essences because honoring them matters just as much, if not more, than honoring your body type lines. A huge mistake would be to assume that your body type dictates your essence, meaning that if you're a natural body type, then you must have a natural essence. Case in point, Reese Witherspoon. Reese is a verified soft gamine with some gamine essence, yet she has a dominant classic essence. If she just honored her lines and assumed that she had a soft gamine essence and styled her hair in bright pink colors and a short, edgy haircut, for example, she would look incomplete and not quite herself. In the images to the left, the super short hair and sharp, choppy layering to the left leans more gamine in essence, and Reese looks cute but not fully herself or fully her best. In the image to the right, she looks amazing. Here, the styling is classic. Her makeup is clean and simple, her earrings are refined, and the old Hollywood curls are elegant, with every hair perfectly in place. To me, her full self is present in the last image, and she looks stunning. More importantly, she looks like the best version of herself. So make sure you know your essence or essences so you can style your hair, makeup, and accessories to honor them. This will bring out your best you. If you don't honor them, even if you nail the body type lines, you'll look incomplete and dull. Essence can be difficult to define because it is so intangible. I hope this video has been helpful in training you to see how to decipher what things make essence, in particular, the classic essence, and how it manifests in the people who have it. As we dive deeper into these essence analysis, I'd be remiss if I didn't discuss the following. Sensuality does not equal femininity. I think we have come to incorrectly associate femininity with a particular look because of how it's often portrayed and sold to us. I think this is the reason why so many women shy away from the more quote unquote masculine body types in Kibbe and certainly from the associated essences. There's this belief that falling into one of these categories takes away from your femininity, but this is simply not true. Femininity does not have a body type or favorite essence. Femininity is simply the way of being for any woman in her true power. This is true in body types. Dramatic women look their most feminine when they honor their lines and lean into their masculine recommendations. As far as essences, I want to make clear that what I discuss here is a very superficial representation of what it means to be feminine. I can talk about movements, clothing, demeanors, and general ways of being that are more or less feminine as compared to others, but that, in and of itself, is not femininity. Femininity, as I understand it, transcends these classifications. It exists for all of us, and it is clearly visible, embodied by incredible women who fall into every category of body type and essence. And I hope this series hopes to highlight that. Thank you so much for watching till the end. I hope you liked the video and that you learned something from it. If you did, let me know in the comments below. In fact, please do all the things. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and turn on your notifications. If you like this kind of content and want to read more before the next video, hop on over to my website where I have tons of posts for you to read through. Otherwise, from me, none, big love, and I'll see you on the next one.